What's up, gamers? Alright, we're here. Woo, baby! We got an epic battle for you today. This is me and a couple of people, a couple of buddies of mine. We got together, decided, hey, let's fight. Let's see who wins. And, needless to say, you'll see. Oh, you'll see. But, man oh man. Did they just charge up here with their little cavalry and try and fuck me? But no, no sir. They get fucked instead. So I'll go over where my army comp was. So I have the 2nd Corps, which in my personal opinion is kind of OP. Mainly my deck because I'm just stacked with units. I have one of my corps here that's going to be pushing up the far left flank. And then I have just a couple more. These guys are, I ran them to go get set. I have my 111th New York. I have my 1st Delaware somewhere around here. But basically, everyone was getting set up because I needed to defend against the Cav because I rushed my artillery here to set them up to go start firing down at their artillery, which is all the way back here and is already destroyed. So I'll go ahead and go over the rest of it. So I have another brigade moving through the forest here, and then I have one more brigade that is in reserve somewhere around here, but I'm not too sure on where I put it. Let's see on the map. For some reason my units are red, but oh yeah, here they are. So this is my other regiment or brigade in reserve, and then over here on the right is Afton. And Afton sets up here fighting at the main line of the forest. He's already got some fighting going on down here with the sharpshooters. What to say? Yeah, it's his cavalry there. So he has cavalry going off there, and then this battle point is mainly going to be my point of conflict, while Afton moves his troops up kind of in the center and gets ready for a hellish fight for the forest. So he's got, you know, basically the same army as me. He's got a couple of skirmishers, though. I have 0 skirmishers, actually, and I am just literally all infantry. Beautiful. Now, I'm not too sure why he leaves his cavalry out there like that, just literally getting volleyed down. As you can see, they lost most of their horses there, and they're still losing them. They're broken, and they break almost instantly. So I'm not sure why he left them there. Not my choice, but maybe he had some kind of secret plan. Anyway, so my troops are starting to move in through this forest here, and I can tell and I know that their troops are around here somewhere. So I start shelling the area, and kind of being like, all right, well, they got to be somewhere in the forest. So I plan out kind of soften their lines a little bit, maybe hit somebody. So we're going to go ahead and fast forward here. I'll speed things up a little bit. And we'll go over here and we'll look at the cannons while things are sped up a little bit. As you can tell, I have my brigade in reserve back there. And I have these guys getting set in kind of a weird position in the forest. So I have them staggered at first, just so I can get some kind of weird formation in case I run into them in a bad spot. I can reposition my guys easier. So I have kind of a staggered formation that I put into the forest, silting the hill. Because if you scroll down in Napoleon, you can kind of hear like enemy footsteps and shit like that. And I guess it's kind of cheating, but I was just kind of going around with my regiments and then I heard their shit. So I was like, all right. So anyways, I stagger these units through the forest and kind of set them up relatively close to each other, but I make sure that they essentially have cover from all sides. And the combat over here is still just going on with the sharpshooters and I believe the rest of their line. So I'm not too sure still on Red's army comp, what they had. I think it was, we outnumbered them by about 1,000 with infantry, because they brought like cavalry and shit. We didn't bring any of that. So anyways, that's what the combat's looking like over there. And over here, we have yet to start, and I have 2 regiments just sitting in the forest because I'm waiting for an advance up the center. But that never really comes, at least right now. And then he's got a division right here that I'm laying down artillery fire on. So, because he's the only infantry that I can really see and I see plausible shooting at, I just have them firing straight at them, because why the fuck not? So the combat is still here starting. So his line, so they have a cavalry unit that's going around kind of the back right now. And then he's got a lot of regiments in reserve, decent amount, about the same as mine. And then I have my 111th New York kind of watching as the artillery guard. And then boom. The attack here is starting. Tell here, they're only fighting 1 or 2 regiments, and I have them staggered a little bit, and they're firing. They're not going to be firing into each other's backs. They're a little bit. They're separated enough to where they don't fire into each other's backs, but they also aren't taking much hits because they are right in this forest. Well, these guys have artillery fire. They're a bit more fucked. So I notice here, I'm like, alright, well, the time is now to attack, I suppose, and I start pushing up my Union troops up the side, and the 72nd Pennsylvania here gets a really nice flank on the enemy. So these little, I think they're Irish guys, or Scottish, whatever it is, I don't know, get a decent flank on the enemy. So they're pretty staggered. The lines are relatively staggered. We don't see anything super put together like on Afton's front, where it's all basically just bars shooting against each other. It's a bit more flanky on my side. He takes a little bit too many casualties. Gets hit by artillery hard right here. Wow. Anyways, so that happens, and his is mostly just bars. My flank's a little bit different, and here's Red moving up his artillery. They're getting off. So it's a rush for the infantry to get up there and start shooting at the cannons. I have my artillery, it's just way too... It's superior there, so they can't really do much against it. Woo! There goes a man. Got hit directly by a special shot. Here comes the shots. Ooh, man. They're just still getting directly screwed. And all their cannons are gone. So there goes that. So that advance was unsuccessful by him. And my flank over here has now become engaged with more Confederates in the forest, so I'm kind of standing out in the open. Well, his men stand in the forest. They have a lot of cover. It's a bit harder to take them down. And they're shooting directly uphill, clear shots at my guys. And we'll go ahead and we'll watch a little bit of their volley fire here. So, let's go down here into the forest and see what's still going on. These guys haven't taken too many casualties against theirs, who have taken about the amount of casualties, and we'll just keep moving through the forest and see what we got here. Beautiful job here. And if we click the map here, we can see still that I do have an entire brigade currently still moving through the forest. 12th New Jersey, 14th New Hampshire, and 82nd New York, and they start firing at the end. So his cavalry doesn't even realize, he just now realizes, oh shit, I have an entire enemy brigade on my flank, and I now start to move them up. So his flank over here is going pretty well. He's crushing his left basically, but the enemy now has this cavalry set up right here. He has an entire fresh cavalry unit coming in. So over here on the side, my guys have just taken too many casualties, so my 72nd Pennsylvania starts to fall back, and it looks like my flank is starting to crumble. It really does, because these guys are taking a lot of casualties. You can see it here. It is just, it's insane how it's just, they start to break, basically. So I run them out of there, and I get them out as fast. And over here on this flank, I start to move up my brigade finally. And I don't think he realized that I was still here. I think he forgot about the cavalry and just kind of moved it back. And here is more of the fighting in the forest. Oh, and they disappeared. So things start to slow down here. At least on this flank, they start to slow down, the firing's less, and the enemy we can no longer see, which gives me time to reset. So the only ooh, there goes my mic, sorry about that. The only time that we see fighting is going to be over here on this kind of right side of my flank. And his flank over here still hasn't done too much. His right side is getting some combat, but not much. Red's kind of just sitting back a little bit. So he's forcing him to attack the forest, and the enemy is now disappeared. So we can no longer see them. I can't see any of the enemy on my flank, and now it is my time to kind of fall back, regroup, and kind of let them come to me. And obviously we will see what happens. But my brigade is beginning to push up more. And he still has not he hasn't remembered that this has happened yet. So, mind you, this is a complete surprise to him. And over here, we have the sharpshooters still firing. He did take out one of his artillery pieces, but it's alright because, I mean, I still have my artillery with security position areas. We can go ahead and look at what the casualties look like in the forest right now. A lot of Confederates here, taking a lot of heavy artillery fire, but man oh man, did my 72nd pen get fucked up here. They got destroyed on this flank, at least on the right side of their line. They got fucked. And then I think my other regiment of 72nd Pen, it may have been the same one, to be honest, because I did have them spread out. I don't think it was, got also fucked on the same flank. So we begin to see it now, and here is where the combat happens with the left flank's surprise attack. So now he realizes, oh shit, he's on my entire flank, and he is surprised because I just kind of run into his cavalry. His cavalry just kind of runs into me, and the fighting starts pretty fast. And now that I have my 4 brigades here, not my 4 brigades, but my 4 full regiments here, my entire brigade here, I begin to push. So you'll see in a bit here that I have my entire red lines here start to push up on them violently, and I do not stop because some of these regiments have fucking ball, which will fuck them up, fucks the enemy up. I don't remember who it is. I think it's just the 12th that has it. So their enemies start popping up again, at least, or their allies start popping up a little bit. The artillery is still firing down over on this side because there doesn't seem to be much combat other than artillery coming down and firing on, and it's literally just sharpshooters essentially for right now. But this flank is about to kick off. So his enemy, he is shifting hard. See, he realizes, oh shit, there's an entire Union brigade on my flank. What the fuck do I do? And he starts to get shimpualized, really. Look at that. Nice volley. That volley fucked. Holy shit. And here comes the fight for the right side. So you see another push begins on this side, and we'll bring up the map here and you'll see my units start to envelop back to the center, and I begin to move my troops back up again. And here's my 72nd Pennsylvania, who appears to have been destroyed, but they're alright. They still have a decent amount of people left. And mind you, I still have my entire brigade in reserve. So at this point, his flank starts to kick off again. And the fight is on over here on this side as well. Now, essentially what I did is I just moved a couple of my units up to help on his flank, which is literally just 2 regiments, just to shipularize them there. Anyways, so we'll go ahead and keep looking at this because this moves fast. This moves very, very fast, as you can tell. Because we push up on the flank, it starts just, it honestly is just crushing his entire, you can see this line here, I've created a hook, and it's honestly just destroying his flank. And it's really good for me. Bad for him, though. So the hook formation is going well for me. I have more of my enemy regiments kind of I have artillery shelling down on them, and it begins to hurt my advance as well because it starts hitting friendlies. But you'll see here on the left flank and the right side, he has a lot of success. He has a lot more success than I have. And the only reason why I honestly would start winning this race is because of that flank. And here comes more of this. That buck and ball is just demolishing them. I think that's what's shooting into them is that buck and ball. And yes, it is. Wow. So you'll see here, fight along the whole battlefield, and we'll just keep zooming in on this buck and ball and this special shot coming in. Wow, it is destroying. So my men on the left side are breaking a little bit more. I mean on the right side, on my right at least, they're starting to break. They have the high ground, they have a better forest, and my units are a bit weaker. So it's just not going great for me. I should have expanded my lines a little bit more. I had a lot of flaws on my right side. But anyways, the fight continues on. And the press continues on. Because they start to break. They are breaking hard. And I'm honestly not worried at this point. I believe that I have won the battle, so I got really, really aggressive. And here, he charges in his infantry. Take out my bucking ball boys, and they don't seem to get called out in time for the big charge. But they get him to make it. So the fight carries on. And it is extremely close quarters. It looks great. So as you can see, he's absolutely destroying my right side. However, I do have my entire full. I have 3 regiments that I pushed here, and then I pushed my other 2 over here, where they're also absolutely crushing them. And I apologize for ignoring this side. I was just focusing more on that push. But man, does he start to collapse his left as well. He does basically the same thing I did. And then you're starting here. It looks like they have. Now they're starting to reload too.
Your men have been routed, sir.
The fight here is going off hard. This is got regiment just standing. Zoologs get caught. Haha. So anyways, the fight continues on here. And the melee continues as well. And a lot of guys on my side begin to rally because I have friendly artillery fire coming in, and it's really just not helping. See these guys start to volley into their side. Here it comes. Train, baby. Come on, bring it. Full regiment. They're just standing there getting shot. They're not even readying those arms. That's fantastic. They're just sitting, doing absolutely. Oh, there they go. Oh, 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 baby. Oh, they're mostly reloading. Wow, I thought I was ready for a big volley, but I guess not. So these guys here, I start to retreat them. They just, I'd fall them back because they have buck and ball, so I want them to do it, but now these guys are about to turn and get fucked. And now you have like a 50-yard battle. So I could just set this literally in the middle here. So extremely close quarters combat. Every shot is killing every single one of them, or craps onto them. And very few of my own guys. It's honestly beautiful. I mean, look at the reps. Anyway, so you can see that red is me, and it's just all enveloping. And the same thing over on this side as well. So bodies strewn all across. Put a volley there. They begin to fall back, and man, oh man, are these guys just screwed. Don't know how they haven't fallen back yet. And now they fall back. And we still have a couple of Confederate regiments kind of holding out here on this left flank. Because he's not completely done yet. He's not. He's put up an extremely good fight against a brigade that surprised the town. So he's done extremely well. It's just a matter of. I had to shimpulize on him, bro. I had to shimpulize. And here comes a 12th New Jersey with their bucket ball, about to turn and demolish the routes because they are now surrounded by 4 regiments. So they will certainly break soon. They break. As they break, these guys push in more, and they only have 1 regiment left in the firing line, really. So now we'll switch our focus back over. Again, they still have these guys here, and I have 140 Pennsylvania firing at their side. These are really strong units. His Gordon's division just holds there for so long. It's really impressive. And I suppose I should get a nice screenshot of this. You have all these bodies strewn across the place. So my men over here, I continue an attack that is kind of useless and I shouldn't be doing. And now here comes a maniac. So he charged his men into my home. The drummer boy just standing there doing absolutely nothing. Fantastic. And I begin to march my troops back. As well, I realize that the battle on this side seems to have been won enough. I can no longer push my troops further, because if I push my troops further, he has a better defensive position than mine, and I will end up breaking. Because my troops are exhausted and they're weak, and they don't want to fight. And I have 1st Delaware, who's now up here fighting. Shot at the 1st Delaware right on. They are here now, firing into the enemy. And they're completely fresh because I had just brought them up. So I have them kind of as rear guard, covering the rest of the retreat, while the enemy kind of just his army comes back. So I have them in my 12th New Jersey and stuff like that, who are now retreating, who are extremely valuable unit. Very well. Falling back. For some reason, Delaware is not yet formed in line. They're just standing there doing absolutely nothing. Of course, looking at reload. That's just my luck. Every single fucking time. Every time that I get into a cool line area, it seems like everybody just has to reload. Anyway, so over here, you see there is a lot of bodies, and just let me know if you want me to make a second video of this right flank alone, because man, is it bloodied up. You can see an extreme push from the Confederates from Red over here. Ultimately, they both fuck each other essentially. Not in a gay way though. But if it wasn't a gay way, it'd be okay. So I think we both advantage. But you can see here, pure devastation in the forest here, and all throughout the farm, Friar's Farm. And you still have some infighting going on over there on the left flank, but for now, the intense fight over there on the left flank is mostly done. Most of the fighting right here now is laid to rest, and the enemy is defeated. So, well, it's not quite defeated yet, but there's a lot of stuff they basically got shit against. And I begin to march my armies back. You can see 5th New Hampshire put up a valiant fight, only with 72 men remaining out of 179, so lost over 100 of their men in the fighting, and they are still fighting on. 12th New Jersey as well took a decent amount of casualties. They were fighting on the field with the other 12th New Jersey, who took a lot more. The artillery fire still goes off, while 1st Delaware begins to retreat as well, because it's time to reform. And now that his left is crushed, there's a new epic move that we have to do, which is pushing into the forest, because red still has most of the top. So this melee here is done. And it seems that the world is largely choice in melee combat. Now they must come around and begin their kind of battle as well. So, the 140th Pennsylvania, Gordon's division go at it. Very close up. Relatively close up. Check out the battlefield here. It is absolute carnage. Not melee fight that happened earlier. And then the horses in the very beginning, and then his cavalry came back once more. And then back here, you'll see more and more artillery fire that didn't do much, it seems like, in the line battle that happened the second time, or the ones we pushed back off the hill. So this battle here happens for a while, and then the same place. Essentially, I missed the cool part of that section. Anyways, so I begin to push my 2nd Delaware and my other 140th that are both fully fresh into the forest because, well, why the fuck not? It will reload soon. I'm sure it'll be a devastating blow in the forest. Here and we'll see. What exactly going on. Confederates are firing back. We'll go ahead and check out the losses online. Seemingly devastating. Seems to be not much. There's a lot of them stopped by the forest, except for this flank here, which is now getting on to go. So go ahead and check the map. You'll see it's kind of hook around is beginning again, and then on Red's right flank, or on Afton's right flank, over there, he begins to hook around the force as well. The battle is not yet over. They still have a chance of winning this. The balance of power is very much so in our favor now, but a lot of their troops begin breaking, and not looking good for them in the forest, though they could still win. Never know. Here comes his troops running up. His general charges in, destroyed, obviously. Basically, pick his charge. And they break before they reach. See if these two guys are done. Come on, you guys got it. Yeah, let's so they just, wow. Dropping left and right. And now on attack. Wow. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So many dead Confederates. And here we have their Confederates beginning to charge as well. And I believe his general charges as well. That might be his general staff. Yeah. Appears to be. So both their generals are dead, and they charged them. So there's no way they can win now, and it's basically defeat. Now we're watching for the sake of watching the Confederates get demolished. These guys need to turn around. I don't know why I wasn't turning around. Oh, they were supposed to, but they just didn't. Oh, here they go. Nope, most of them are reloading. Fantastic. Alright. So the shots go off here. 120th New York, who's still pretty good with the fighting. These guys are still shooting at the guys that are retreating over here. Gordon's division eventually came back, and now it's kind of broken again. They're getting shot in the back by 108th New York. The guys that I had covered at this point. Now 140th Pennsylvania, who was in combat with them, slowly marches over to the flank as well to go finish up the fighting. Ooh, wow. Devastating. Wow. You saw that. That was absolutely demolished on that volley. And here is the victory. So you can see Afton only took about 952. I took about 1,000 losses, and we outnumbered them by about 1,000. And they lost the majority of their army. So we look over here at the unit stats for my units, and let's go ahead and we'll look at the unit of the game who got the most kills. And it looks like, I mean, my battery did well with 172 kills. It looks like my 12th New Jersey, one of the 12th New Jersey, has the most amount of kills with 118 kills. And they did fantastic. They only lost 16 men and took down a shit ton of them. So that was fantastic. It was a really fun battle. But yeah, that was what we got there. So we killed a decent amount of guys.